Okay, so this morning for our reading section, you're going to do a self-guided evaluation. So that's really fancy for seeing what you think you can read, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to School Pace Connect. So you may have already seen this in kindergarten, but this is your Clever start board, right? So we've got GoNoodle and we've got School Pace right here, and it's got the little world, okay? So we're going to look for the one that says School Pace, and we're going to click on that. It should bring up something that looks similar to this. Now we're going to go to, see all of these? We don't want to deal with that. We want to go down to Arc Bookshelf. Okay? Now, what you're going to see are the books that you read last year, especially in these. I bet y'all saw these a lot last year. And maybe some of these. So what you're going to do today is you get to pick one book to read from yellow, right here, okay? You're going to pick that one. And if you read it really well and you feel great about it, then you're going to pick the next one, okay? Now remember, when I'm reading a book, I read the pictures. So I'm looking at the pictures and I'm looking at the starting sound, and that can help me. So if I don't really know what this is, I can look right here. B, b. What could a picture be that starts with a b sound? Oh, a boat. You see how that works? So I can look at the starting sound and the ending sound, and then I can actually sound it out. B, oat. Now, when I see O and A together, it only says O. So that one's a little bit trickier, but you can try to sound out the word. You can look at the picture for help, or you can look at that starting sound, and that'll give you a clue too. So if you rock this book, you're going to go back. See how that was the very top one? You're going to go to the next one. And you get to pick a book here. Now these books are going to be a little trickier. Now you're going to get a sheet that looks just like this. Okay, can y'all see that? And if you read through this book, and it's awesome too, and you can read all of these words and you use the pictures and you sound out the words, then you get to come and put a circle around the Y 1 through 3. Okay? You're going to put a circle. The instructions on it say that it's independent and that you can read it with no problems. Okay? So that means that you didn't have to have mom come over. You could just read this book all by yourself. You don't need anybody's help. That's what that means, okay? So if you feel like you can read this book, the Y's, all by yourself, awesome, okay? You're going to circle that. Then you're going to go to G1, which is right here. So you've got 1, 2, G1. And you're going to pick a book from here. And it's same thing. You're going to try to read this book. If you can't read this book, is that okay? Absolutely, that's where we're going to start, okay? So I'm going to take my time. I'm going to look at the pictures to help me. I'm going to read the words on the page. And if I come to a word I don't know, I'm going to sound it out or ask for help, okay? But if you have to ask for help too much, then we probably need to make an X here, okay? And that's going to be your call, okay? So if you think you rocked that one, you're going to make a circle and go to G2s. Parents, they're just going to keep going until they make some X's, until they feel like, ooh, I can't read that book, okay? So when you feel like, I can't read that book, that's when you're going to make an X. So if I get to the G1s and I'm like, oh, I don't know those words, I'm going to put an X on the G1. Now this is in Google Slides. So you're actually going to take the little marker piece or the pieces that I have on there to circle or X, okay? So that's what you're going to be doing, is circling or Xing those out, okay? So all of these down here, if you can't read this one, you're going to go ahead and make X's on all the rest of them. You're only going to circle the ones that you can read, okay? So our reading zone after that, after you figure out what you can and you can't read, you're going to draw a big square over your reading zone. And that's going to be the ones that you can read. Okay, so those are books that you can pick anytime. Now, we are not going to start reading those for class just this yet. I want you guys to just go through and find your independent reading level, something that you like, and you can read some books on that one. So if I go to yellow 3, and that's where I feel really comfortable, I'm going to go back to the yellows, and I'm going to pick books just from the yellows. Look how many books there are. Okay, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 books just from the yellow for my steps today. Or I can go to the initial consonants too. I can read these books for my steps today. And then once you've read at least one of these books, you can go to Epic for the rest of your steps, okay? All right. So, parents, we may be a little bit farther behind than what we left in kindergarten, and that's okay because we've been out of school for a very long time. So, if they're a little bit, they're not reading the same way they were in the spring, that's okay. We're going to give them some grace because we're going to get there, okay? All right, so this is an independent choice. They get to choose the books, and they get to choose where they're reading and what they feel like they can read. So even if you feel like they were rocking it, if they feel like they weren't, they're going to make an X. They get to choose this, okay? All right, so go forth and read and have a great time on your ARC bookshelf.